Welcome to Newswatch tonight. Nairobi has seen some rains pounding the city, and we are grateful. My name is Melissa Odwar. On the sign language is Elizabeth Wanjiku. Newswatch begins now. Now, the debate on the Finance Bill 2023 commenced today as the contentious bill entered the second reading stage in the National Assembly. Finance and Planning Committee Chairman Molo MP Kimani Kuria, who tabled the bill on Tuesday evening, began the debate this morning by defending the proposed changes and retained provisions in the bill. Now, despite of the changes made and contentious clauses in the proposed bill, a heated debate ensued in the floor of the House, with the opposition MPs rejecting the bill in its entirety. Our senior reporter Kennedy Kimani begins our bulletin tonight with those deliberations.
Hawa wabunge tuwacheni ubinafsi. Tuacheni ubinafsi kwa mara ya kwanza, tufikirie hawa wananchi. Ni lazima tujinyime, ni lazima tujiadhibu ili tuweze kukomboa hawa wa Kenya.
Kenyans wamechoka. They are not interested in this house levy. They are asking for one request. Please give us food.
It was a heated debate in the floor of the August House today as members of parliament from the opposition and Kenya Kwanza disagreed over the contentious Finance Bill 2023, which is at its second reading stage.
Somebody needs to start caring for the hustlers.
A Finance Committee Chair Kimani Kuria began the debate by defending proposed changes and retained provisions in the bill.
It will not, Honourable Speaker, that Kenya becomes now, if this bill passes as amended, Honourable Speaker, becomes one of the first countries in the region.
The Deputy Minority Whip Robert Mbui opposed the bill, accusing the executive arm of government of controlling the legislature like puppets.
This bill, when we heard that there was going to be some proposed amendments, we thought they would deal with those things that are affecting the cost of living. 16% VAT on petroleum products has been retained. Mr. Speaker, what does that mean? That the cost of everything transported, goods and services, will go up. The cost of electricity will go up. Mr. Speaker, there's also advance tax that has been proposed on personal public service vehicles and, of course, on transporters. Again, Mr. Speaker, the minute you increase taxation, what it does, Mr. Speaker, is that will be passed on to the end user. And, Mr. Speaker, the end user is that person that we call the hustler. Mr. Speaker, who will speak for the hustlers?
It is therefore incumbent upon us to choose where we want to stand. Do we want to stand on the right side of history or on the wrong side of history as a house? Because Kenyans are watching. Do you want to side with the oppressors who have brought this bill, or do you want to stand with the poor Kenyans? The choice is ours. At the end of the day, it will be neither the issue of Kenya Kwanza or Azimio. It will be the issue of what position did a leader take at the hour of need. What stand did you take at the hour of need for Kenyans?
The bill has 84 clauses and seeks to amend the following laws: the Income Tax Act, the Value Added Tax Act, the Tax Appeal Tribunal Act, the Excess Duty Act, the Tax Procedures Act, the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Act, the Unclaimed Financial Assets Act, the Statutory Instruments Act, the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act, the Kenya Roads Board Act 1999, the Kenya Revenue Act 1995, the Employment Act 2007, and the Retirement Benefits Act No. 8 of 2015. Azimio have however termed the bill as hopeless, saying that no number of amendments can redeem President William Ruto's first finance bill.
Taxation, what it does, Mr. Speaker.
Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch, Nairobi.
Now, former Director of Public Prosecutions Nuruddin Haji is now the new Director General of the National Intelligence Service, NIS. Haji was sworn in on Wednesday in an event that was presided over by President William Ruto at State House, Nairobi. And as Grace Ahati now reports, President Ruto has said that the government will use intelligence analysis to manage emerging global challenges.
A day after the approval of his nomination by the National Assembly, former DPP Nuruddin Haji has been sworn in as the new Director General of the National Intelligence Service, NIS.
That I will diligently serve the people of the Republic of Kenya without fear, favor, bias, affection, or ill will. That in the exercise of the functions entrusted upon me, I will at all times subject myself to the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, the National Intelligence Services Act, and all other laws relating now or in the future in force relating to my appointment in the National Intelligence Service. So help me God.
While presiding over the swearing-in ceremony at State House, Nairobi, President William Ruto congratulated Haji for the merited appointment, expressing confidence that the experience he has gathered over the years will be of great benefit to NIS.
Having worked in the intelligence service for many years and having served in other senior government positions, including that of the DPP, I am confident that you have assembled the requisite knowledge, understanding, and experience to be able to discharge your responsibility.
The President has at the same time called on the various arms of government and agencies to work together to advance the country's development agenda.
I call upon all arms of government and all sectors and all agencies to work together for the better governance of the country. We must depersonalize, depoliticize our decisions so that they are better tuned to making sure that it is in the best interest of the country when we act.
The head of state has further appealed to relevant institutions to furnish decision makers and legislators with credible information to enable them to execute their duties.
Using your offices together with all the other sectors of government to make the best possible information to our policymakers, to decision makers in government, and that policy, legislation, and all other interventions by government will be based on solid, verified information, analysis, and knowledge.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Grace Ahati.
Thank you, Grace, for that report. Now, Second Lady Pastor Dorcas Gachagua has conducted a tour of the Kiambu GK prison in Kiambu County. Her tour forms part of her boy agenda, intensifying efforts to support the male child and the youth in the society. Tiffany Wamboi has more.
Just a week after flagging off a rehabilitation program seeking to support drug and substance addicts, Second Lady Pastor Dorcas Gachagua has conducted a tour of the Kiambu GK prison in Kiambu County. While addressing the inmates, Pastor Dorcas called on the prisoners to reform and change their behavior once they are released, noting that there is a second chance in life after prison.
Kazi yenu si ati tu mutoke huku mupige kura, nataka mutoke huku mpate kazi. Muboreshe maisha yenu, muwe na familia, na mupate tudokas twingi. Niwe ninaenda harusi. I'll be very happy as a mother. And you have what it takes. Hii plan ambaye wa mpango Mungu ako nayo, si wa special people, ni wa watu kama nyinyi. Wale wamekata kauli kubadirika, mutabadirika.
Mrs. Gachagua further expressed empathy for the inmates, stating that as a mother, she feels for all the mothers whose children are in prison, as she continued to encourage them to go home and do the right thing.
Unajua kuna mambo ingine, mama akiona mtoto wake hapa, I don't even have words and I don't know what to say. Because it is a very sad day for me. I know I wanted to come here. Na nilikuwa tu nataka kuja hapa. Lakini roho yangu iko chini zaidi. Na majonzi ni mingi. What are you doing here, my sons? What are you doing here? You must go home and do the right thing.
The second lady further noted that it is rather unfortunate that the inmates have been locked up in prison, yet she is embarking on providing support to the boy child in the society.
Sasa mimi niko huko najaribu silali na waombea, najaribu kuona vile mtaenda kwa rehabs, vile mtapata kazi, alafu sasa anakuja na wakuta mumewekewa mawall kama haya, mmefungiwa huku ndani. It is not fair. It is not fair to me. My boy children, I love you, you know.
At the same time, the Kenya Prison's Deputy County Commissioner of the Central Region, Florence Mureithi, noted that there are reforms in the correctional facilities where the inmates can acquire various skills.
Tunapotoka hapa, let's all of us ask ourselves hard questions. We are here to be contained. Sisi tunahakikisha tunawachunga vizuri msitoke, that we rehabilitate you. We are doing our very best to ensure that we do that. To give you a skill, even prayer ni skill, sini kweli? Na ile maombi yote sini skill. Ile manyimbo, skill. Praise and worship. If you left here, wouldn't you form a church? Si mnaweza? Na hiyo si job. Sini job.
Pastor Dorcas kicked off a rehabilitation campaign for the first cohort of addicts on the 8th of this month, aimed at rehabilitating the boy child in the society. Tiffany Wamboi, Hope TV, Nairobi.
It's 2023 aimed at building resilience in the agriculture sector by training and equipping rural-based farmers with the knowledge and resources needed to thrive in all the 5 years. Agra Africa's president, Dr. Agnes Kalibata, who emphasized the importance of Agra partnering with private, local, and national government.
Today, Agra successfully launched its strategy for 2023 to 2027. This strategy aims at building resilience of smallholder farmers by strengthening market systems and enabling the policy for environment in Kenya. This 5-year strategy also aligns with Kenya's Vision 2030, which is focused on long-term development in areas such as agriculture.
Among those in attendance were the president of Agra, Dr. Agnes Kalibata, and Honorable Mithika Linturi's remarks were shared by Principal Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, Jonathan Muweke.
Represent the PS, but actually to represent the Cabinet Secretary, who had personally wanted to be here. He delegated that to the PS crops.
Agra's strategy will focus on reconstituting the environment, improving climate change, building resilience in the farming sector, partnering with private and governmental sectors to achieve Agra's 5-year vision.
Looking at the global, the goal of the strategy, to support and improve food, to support Kenya to improve food sufficiency by strengthening market systems, strengthening sustainable farming, to building resilience and improving enabling environment for private sector to thrive. The strategy, I believe, is a combination of a realistic assessment of what Agra has done over the past 5 years and what needs to be done in the next 5 years towards transformation of the Kenyan agriculture sector.
Agra intends to include more youth in their strategy of long-term sustainable food systems, as a large percentage of farmers in Kenya are age 60 and above. Agra's president, Dr. Agnes Kalibata, spoke on how to harness youth energy and include more female farmers.
So Agra's work is clearly there. We work with many NGOs. You've heard NGOs that work with us to try to move that ecosystem forward. NGOs do not displace private sector. NGOs are supposed, like us, Agra, to catalyze private sector, not to displace private sector. We need to get young people into ag, and young people need to get into ag as a matter of ensuring that this sector is harnessed for youth. The agriculture is a business. It's not a subsistence thing. The only reason it's subsistence is because we are not making it work.
According to some of those who have benefited from the program, such as rural-based advisors, AGRA has also assisted farmers in assessing soil, planting climate change-resilient crops. Some of the challenges presented that needed solutions include difficulty in accessing funds for farming for those that need it.
We have water use efficient technologies, and what that means is that you, for example, in the rice sector, you actually have rice varieties that will actually yield more, but utilize less water in its production. We are optimistic that what has been provided aligns with the priorities as per the ASTGS and as well as Vision 2030. And as development partners, we're also willing to be able to come together to support and support where things can be able to happen.
Reporting for Hope TV, I'm Joy Mochache.
18 adherents of controversial preacher Paul Mackenzie's Good News International Church and who went on strike upon their rescue from the Shakahola forest collapsed today outside the Shanzulo courts as they were being arraigned to be charged with attempted suicide. The emaciated followers had refused to eat for 10 days and were at the brink of death. Prosecutors were forced to seek court direction on the matter, even as two lawyers representing the controversial preacher in the Shakahola cult case recused themselves while citing alleged frustration by the state. While giving its direction, the court ordered that Mackenzie and his 29 suspect or accomplices be detained at the Malindi GK prison up to the 21st of this month, while the weak ones are to be taken to hospital. That sad story takes us to a fast break here on Newswatch. More news coming your way shortly.
This week on Testify.
The reason why I'm not mentioning my family a lot in this story, not that they were not in the picture, they were going at a trying moment. I had just come from home and Dad was diagnosed with cancer, stage 4, and kidney failures. So he needed more medical attention. More medical attention than I was. So when all this happened, my families were totally confused.
Only on Hope TV. Look and live. Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back. Traders at the Mutindwa market along Outer Ring Road in Nairobi's Eastlands are counting huge losses after a dawn fire burnt down their stalls. Property worth damaged. Reports estimate that the damage to property is to be worth 100 million shillings. According to Embakasi West MP Mark Mwenje, the fire, which started at around 2 a.m., was aggressive. Angry traders further expressed their disappointment with the late arrival of the fire brigade, noting that the market is almost 5 minutes away from the Kangundo fire station. The market becomes the second to be burnt down in less than a week after Toy Market in Kibra suffered losses in a similar night fire 2 days ago. Former Tetu MP James Ndungu Githinji is a free man now after his elder brother Frederick Gitahi withdrew a 5-year-old case arising from the control and management of the 20 billion shilling Kihingo Village Waridi Garden Estate in the upmarket Kitusuru zone of Nairobi. Gitahi withdrew the breach of peace case against the former MP and 2 employees of the Kihingo Village Waridi Garden. He told Milimani Senior Principal Magistrate Bernard Ochoi that he was not coerced to withdraw the case against his brother and the employees of the ultra-modern estate Josiah Augo Otimo and Kennedy Ochieng Asewe. In his ruling, Ochoi said courts embraced the alternative dispute resolution and encouraged the 2 brothers to resolve the issues in a dispute amicably.
The case is withdrawn under Section 204 CPC against the first, second, and fourth accused persons who are before this court. The case against the third accused abates as is deceased. As regards the 5th accused person who absconded, the case will be withdrawn under Section 87A CPC, but a warrant of arrest will remain in force until his arrest.
They've agreed to resolve this matter out of court. I think this is the way we should go. You know that the judiciary also encourages mediation. I think we have been in this journey in terms of urging the brothers to agree, and they have agreed. The matter has been withdrawn conclusively. There is nothing remaining in the courts. This matter has been in court for 3 years now? 2019. Since 2019, 2021, and now it's about 4 years.
Joining Force Alliance has led Kenya in commemorating the Day of the African Child in an event that saw discussions centering on increased collaboration in budgeting for children's rights and protection. County Director of Children's Fund, Irene Mureithi, lauded the reasonable strides made on the well-being of children in various parts of the country, notably in the Children Protection Unit, further emphasizing that all the ministries, departments, and agencies must contribute to the advancement of the rights of the children of Kenya. And as statistics indicate that about 67% of children in the nation are internet users, some among them still face exploitation and abuse. Joining Forces Alliance has further decried the high malnutrition levels facing children living in the arid and semi-arid areas due to the time lag between drought recovery and food availability. The agency urged the National Drought Management Authority to further consider its interventions for children with disabilities.
For purposes of preparing our engagement in the budget discussions tomorrow. In Kenya, tomorrow is being called the Budget Day. So as you look at the statement that will be issued tomorrow by the Cabinet Secretary, we want to inform you that as joining forces under a civil society organization, we recognize that by April this year, the budget documents were already available. We also recognize that for a period of 2 months, April and part of June, the Parliamentary Budget Committee, the National Assembly Budget Committee, were looking at this budget. So what is being presented tomorrow, a lot of the details are already known.
In its June 23 monthly drought updates, the NDMA, the National Drought Management Authority, reports that the number of people in need of assistance stood at 4.4 million as a result of effects of drought. We note that NDMA falls short of providing the estimated number of children, male, female, and children with disability out of the 4.4 million people. The NDMA further reports that issues of malnutrition still remain critical in SALs due to the time lag between the drought recovery and the food availability.
2 Kenyans, Kennedy and Mama Aisha Dafala, have been honored for donating blood more than 100 times and 70 times respectively. While marking the World Blood Donor Day at Ihura Stadium in Murang'a County, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nahumicha said the prestigious event aimed to recognize and appreciate the selfless individuals and institutions that save lives through blood donation. During the event, the CS officially opened the Murang'a County Blood Satellite that will provide vital blood transfusion services to Murang'a County and its surrounding areas. The facility was constructed by the Murang'a County government and equipped by the Ministry of Health in efforts to ensure accessible healthcare in the region. On the international scene, mourners gathered in Milan on Wednesday for the state funeral of Silvio Berlusconi, the former Italian prime minister who died on Monday, aged 86. Berlusconi's coffin left Villa San Martino in Arcore outside Milan and was transported through the city center to Milan's Gothic Duomo Cathedral for service. When it left the cathedral afterwards, crowds sang the Italian national anthem. A day of mourning has also been declared for the ex-premier. The former leader's body is expected to be cremated at the Valenziano Pantarei Crematorium Temple in the province of Alessandria, Piedmont. Berlusconi had a recent history of health issues and was recently diagnosed with leukemia. He had been admitted to the Milan San Raffaele Hospital previously with breathing problems and attended a checkup there on Friday, days before his death.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
A look at business now. President William Ruto has pledged his government's commitment to keep developing an optimal engineering capacity to support the sustainable transformation of the country. Speaking during the 4th Engineering Partnerships Convention in Naivasha, Nakuru County, the president challenged the engineers to reinforce their mandate in education and training by supporting the design, improvement, and implementation of the most appropriate national STEM curriculum for the country's needs.
Our commitment on ICT and the digital superhighway pillar. I was having a conversation yesterday with Google and MasterCard, and they were informing me that they need software engineers between 500 and 1,000 every year if we were to make meaning of our digital economy going into the future. Again, that is the space we will be working with you on actualizing our aspirations and making sure that we position not just Kenya, but we position our continent appropriately as a continent of the future. Not only do we need engineering professions to guide the implementation of programs and projects under our plan, but we also have to go deeper. Competitive efficiency is essential for transformation and calls for constant innovation. I mean, the engineer of yesterday, if you don't update your skills, you don't update your qualifications, it is very easy to be obsolete, especially in an ecosystem, a world that is evolving at the rate at which we are.
This is an interesting one. The number of people taking a strong interest in the news has dropped by around a quarter in the last 6 years. According to a global study by Oxford University's Reuters Institute, only 48% of people around the world are very or extremely interested in the news, down from 63% in 2017. More than a third of people, that's at 36% worldwide, say they sometimes or often actively avoid the news. The Digital News Report 2023 also concluded that traditional TV and print news media are continuing to decline, while online consumers are accessing news less frequently than in the past and are also becoming less interested. Meanwhile, younger viewers aged 18 to 24 are increasingly using Instagram and TikTok, with 20% saying they source for news from TikTok. The report says that the platform is the fastest growing social network in the survey. TikTok users are more likely to get news on the platform from celebrities, influencers, or ordinary creators than mainstream news outlets or journalists. The most important social media platform for news is still Facebook, although it is in long-term decline, with the number of people accessing it each week for news dropping from 42% to 28% over the past 7 years. To some sports now. Kenya's men's national football team Harambee Stars beat Pakistan 1-0 in the Four Nations tournament at the Cote d'Or National Sports Complex in Mauritius. The Four Nations tournament is a series of international friendlies over a span of 1 week that involves Kenya, Mauritius, Pakistan, and Djibouti. Pakistan is, however, ranked in 195th position by FIFA, whereas Kenya is in position 102. And Real Madrid have completed the signing of England midfielder Jude Bellingham from Borussia Dortmund for a 6-year deal. Bellingham will become England's most expensive player, should the deal rise to the £115 million price tag, including add-ons. Bellingham, who was named the Bundesliga Player of the Year in the 2022-2023 season, leaves Dortmund after 3 seasons. And that's how we close Newswatch tonight. Thank you for keeping me company throughout the newscast. I have been your anchor, Melissa Odor. Elizabeth Wanjiku has been helping us with the sign language tonight. Join us tomorrow, same time, for another edition of Hope TV Newswatch. Until then, have a good night.